Hey, Eastern Oregon, thank you for joining us this morning on EO AM on EOAlive on this July the 27th, 21 episode. And this is kind of a special deal. Today, it's the first time that we are back in the studio. And this is this is kind of what it's going to look like until we figure it out. Go ahead and switch cameras. Guile, there. And
yeah, it's so different.
Yeah.
So weird to be like sitting in front of a real camera and not at the desk.
Yeah. And this is, I worked on this setup quite a bit last night. And anyhow, but it's way far from perfect. So
it'll work.
Yeah. It's going to be a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah. The complaint box is right down the hall to the right. You have to have a key to get in there. There's a toilet right next to it.
But hey, we can still see your comments. We can put your comments on the frame just like we have in the past. And so chime in. We'd like to know you're there. Let us know where you're watching from today. And so, yeah.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
How was your weekend, man?
It was good. It was good. My kids are here. I drove to Biggs and picked them up. It was really busy. But I was I must have been like right after that wreck because I left here about 9.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Man, that was a crazy. Tell them. I mean, I'm sure everybody's. Hey, good morning, Jimmy. People have heard about it by now, but talk about that a little bit. That's kind of a crazy thing.
I just know what I've read, and I guess a car went off right there at Perry, right 248, and went down. Did it go off the bridge? Or did it go off to the side and go down the embankment?
I don't know how the path it made, but
I don't either.
Anyhow, they ended up on thankfully the river's way low, and
that would have been scary because they would have been.
But they ended up roof down on the bed of the river.
Yeah, and they had to cut the top off the car. Both the parents had to be life flighted, and both the kids were fine. Right? They went to the hospital, but they were.
Yeah.
I saw a picture on, I think Union County Sheriff, where a couple of the deputies had to take their gear off to wade the kids across the river.
Yeah. Wow.
Man,
yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
And then I read on social media, of course, there's always comments. Somebody said, well, why is there more wrecks in this summer than there was last winter? I'm like, where do people get their information? Like, how do you know that?
Right. Yeah. That was
not saying that there wasn't, but how do you know that? Where do you find that information?
I know.
And then the hummingbird picture, that drives me crazy too. I hope you're watching, whoever wrote that on there. You should really Google whether red dye hurts hummingbirds.
You gotta switch to your camera when you do. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to get used to that. You should really Google whether or not red dye hurts hummingbirds and go to Snopes. Snopes is generally pretty close to what, the real truth. And on there, it says that there's no proof either way whether red dye hurts hummingbirds or not. So
yeah.
And just as a.
Yeah. And just so you know, the hummingbirds weren't at my house. So now switch back to the white guy. The hummingbirds weren't at my place. I was at somebody's house and so, yeah, it's so funny on social media. People they feel compelled to give you advice. And it's like, if I want advice, I'll ask for it, but it's all right.
We're going to have to figure something out with this switcher thing.
Yeah. You can't navigate that?
I don't know that. Notice how you put it over here.
Well, it was either one or the other.
It's like trying to it's going to take time. There's 4 buttons, guys, right here.
Yeah.
In front of me, there's 4 buttons for the 4 different cameras. So there's a camera in front of me, a camera in front of BC, a camera over here. So this is
2.
This is 2.
Yeah.
This is 2.
Yeah.
So there's a camera over here. There's a camera in front of BC. There's a camera in front of both of us.
Yeah.
And then there's a camera in front of me, and they're just buttons that you have to hit. And man, it's gonna take some time to get that figured out for sure.
Yeah, and you can't imagine how complicated. I spent about 4 hours working on this little setup.
I wish you guys could see
And
Well,
we've been talking
yeah.
about, what it is that we do. You know, when we've been doing this virtual thing, everyone is responsible, you know. So if a guest is wherever they are, they're sitting in front of their computer, they're responsible for their own camera and responsible for their own audio and so on and so forth. And when you move all this into a studio, then it's just infinitely more complicated. So,
well, Brett. So Brett says Snopes is the farthest thing from the truth. In this case, it correlated exactly with hummingbirdfeeders.net. Google whether red dye hurts hummingbirds, and they recommend not to put it in there just because there's no need for it. But pretty much everybody agrees that there's no proof either way. That like the comment said that it like hurts their tongue and makes it so they can't eat. So of course I'm the kind of person that's going to look it up. I want to verify. You know, I like to know if that's the truth or not. And there's no information anywhere. And Snopes correlated and was exact on with what hummingbirdfeeders.net and a couple other websites that I went to about hummingbirds had to say.
Yeah, I think he's referring to that. Snopes is kind of, they have known to take a political, they're a bent. So they have, well, and we won't get into it, but they've lost some credibility over the last couple of years because
they've jumped on a side.
Yeah. Or at least there's a very strong suspicion that they have. They've kind of been a tool to brand things as false news when they're not. So,
well, Brent, put it in DuckDuckGo and see what it says and comment if it's anything different. I mean, because what I got out of it is that there's no proof either way, and they've done some studies, and it's just want to talk about political. To me, that seems like a political push. You know, the whole red dye thing. Like, granted, there is other countries who have outlawed red dye, so there's a reason. But at the same time, when there's no scientific proof, I'm the kind of person that, you know, it's got to be real, otherwise I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I hope. I mean. Anyways, weather time.
And we don't have weather, but we do have a weather shot.
We do. Weather guys on vacation.
Yeah. And
wow.
So Gabe, our weather kid, he's on vacation and won't be back until I think this week sometime, the end of this week. He
went to Colorado to shoot part of his movie that he's coming out with. Second movie?
Yeah.
Second full length?
I think this is his third. So this is Back to the Future, because he did a Back to the Future 4, 5, and this is Back to the Future 6 that he's working on.
Does Back to the Future, like, can they swim?
I know. I've wondered that same thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if it blew up? Like, what if he started making money off of it?
Well, yeah, I don't know how the branding, I mean, you know, part of it, I guess, is like Hollywood industry doesn't really want to, they're not really interested in suing a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, you would hope not. But, I mean, down the road, what if it became something huge?
Yeah.
And he made millions, like Ice Ice Baby. Perfect example. He took it from the song Pressure. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until that song blew up and he made all the money off it that Queen said, oh, hold up. And now Queen gets royalties off of his music, off of Ice Ice Baby's music, because he sampled their song and didn't.
Well, and who knows? I don't know what we have not ever asked. So, hey, Bennett, you can take off if you want. Bennett's monitoring from the other room. And we're...
go back to bed.
Kevin Cahill was supposed to join us this morning. And if you showed up to see Kevin, we had some kind of a scheduling conflict or we just weren't able to connect with him this morning. So, but we're glad that you're here and glad that you're tuning in.
Pig.
Yeah. I want to take a minute here and just show you guys a new commercial that we just did. And it's very cool. And it's kind of, you know, you may or may not know we've kind of gone to a different place. I mean, we've been working really hard for the last 6 months to do some things that we've been wanting to do for literally the last 5 years. And so let me just show you this commercial because it kind of explains summarizes a lot of what we've been doing. So take a look.
EOAlive is your connection to Eastern Oregon. Get the latest and most relevant news in 2 minutes or less with Megan Demersion on our evening news broadcast. We cover Eastern Oregon's weather daily with Gabe, the EOAlive weather kid, with an extended forecast every Friday. Watch Dodzy on EOAlive Sports to get the latest sports information and interviews with local coaches, athletes, and more. See Brent and Dodzy goof and gaff with local guests on EOAlive's morning talk show, AM on EOAlive. We're available across the board, including Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Fire, and of course, our very own website, EOAlive.tv. We even have our own Roku channel and 24/7 live streaming via Stream. You can also listen to our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and many other popular podcast apps. You can get everything all in one place with the EOAlive app, available on Android, iOS, and the Amazon App Store. EOAlive, your connection to Eastern Oregon.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, Bennett did a great job with that commercial.
Yeah.
Really good.
He did. I told him what we wanted, and he wrote it, voiced it, put it together. Yeah.
Nice.
Looked really awesome.
Jimmy, that's a good question. I'll commit to before the summer's over, we will do something cooking-wise. And I've been on this diet, so I haven't been cooking at all. So it's been like it's been crazy, like I don't cook because I've been on this diet and all the food is supplied by them. It's all dehydrated food. It's really good though. It's Metrum right here in LeGrand. They sponsor my sports show, and that's was part of the deal is they advertise with us and sponsor me, and that's basically what's going on. And I've lost over 40 pounds. I'm still trucking. I'm taking a cheat day today.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to Chinese food. It's my birthday. but see, here's the thing. My mom chose Chinese food, which is fine. Yeah. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I hope she's not watching. But it's not, it's just Chinese food.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat a bunch of sushi and pad thai. And well, I guess that's not Chinese food.
Is that like Thai?
But the place here in town, they have everything. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. This is
thank you.
Yeah.
Lenore.
This is Tanya and I's 14th anniversary today.
You got married on my birthday? It was my birthday first.
Well, yes.
It must have been a sign.
Because you're old as dirt, man.
Yeah, but if I'm old as dirt, what does that make you? Like,
I know, yeah.
Moses is in your yearbook?
Yes, he is. I know him personally.
You rode on the ark?
Yeah, we played football together.
Yeah, probably. You split toe sandals.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No.
So if you're just tuning in, this is a different look. We're back. We're going to start shooting it in the studio. We will tweak things around. Obviously, it's a little bit crude right now, but we'll get it figured out. And we have a 4-camera setup. You got BC over there. You got the guest cam here, which is my hand. You got me here, and then the wide shot. And who knows? It might look exactly like this, and it might not. I mean, we're going to play with it and kind of see. This is the first time we've been in studio in over, a year and a half?
Yeah.
Has it been that long? It's been since May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a year and like 3 months.
Well, and the only live studio stuff that we've ever done, it was the Johnny Ball game. You guys did that daily.
That's true.
But it's a lot of work. I mean, and that's why the whole virtual thing with everyone in front of their own cameras and stuff, it's just their own computers. It's just
so much easier.
It's so much easier. Yeah. So when you started talking about let's get back in the studio, oh man,
it had to happen.
It did, but it's funny because these cords I literally bought a year and a half ago because I knew eventually, maybe a year ago, we'd be doing this. So I call this little thing the camera bouquet, and it's
right here.
Yeah.
There's GoPros.
There's three GoPros. Yeah.
On a platform.
Yeah.
And then obviously we have the studio camera up here, And then there's this fancy schmancy switcher in front of me that has all these buttons. I guess you can switch 8 different things on it.
Well, no. So what you could, yeah. So if you, so move the fader bar up. See, it does a effect. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh no. Kyle's discovered another toy.
Hang on here. Let's cut to DC. I like it.
That's right.
I didn't even know you could do that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I like that you put this in front of me.
Yeah. So when you just doing cuts, you just push the button. Yeah. But
oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. I didn't know it was that fancy.
we need some different music if you're going to use that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the show's probably going to be a little bit short today. We don't have a guest, so next week on Thursday, Laza Baxter will join us. We usually, it's funny, you guys. I'll just come out and tell you guys this. We usually don't know the guest until the day before.
We try and work on them, yeah.
I think it makes it more organic. I don't want to think about what I'm going to talk to somebody about. I just want it to be off the top, and I think it makes it more enjoyable. Like I don't even know Sean Crow, but when that conversation that we had, it just was natural.
Just kind of took off.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And that makes it more organic and probably better for you guys, I would imagine.
Yeah. And yeah. And people like Sean just have such a diverse background, athletics and writing. And I don't know of anyone. I mean, I've just met very few people that have a foot in both worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, normally
get made fun of if you're a fantasy nerd in sports.
Well, yeah, and he talked about that. I mean, I thought that was really, so between wrestling matches, he would be reading a book on the sideline.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, he just had to be endless,
Yeah.
And I tell you, in high school, he was a monster.
I've heard he didn't go here though. Did he?
Yeah, he played at least a year or two.
Did he?
Yeah, but he broke his femur.
Oh, that's a terrible injury.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it's the biggest bone in your body.
Yeah, I don't know what you do to break a femur, but
I know what you do to break a femur. I was coaching a kid, and we were in McMinnville baseball. There's a shallow little bloop pop up in right center.
Yeah.
My center fielder was my running back. He's kind of stocky, really fast. And he's running for the ball, and he bends down like this, and the right fielder's coming at the same time, and they collided.
Oh.
And his femur, you could hear it. His femur snapped, his knee dislocated, and his bottom of his leg, both compound tib fib coming out the skin.
Oh,
and
wow.
they life flighted him from the field. His mom was a what are they called? The trauma nurse. So we had 3 nurses, moms on the team.
Yeah.
And they were all out there. I almost passed out when I got out there. I was the first one out there. And you know how when you think you're going to pass out, things start shrinking this?
Yeah.
And so I went down to my knee and I grabbed a hold of his hand. And then they're doing everything. They're working on him. They're giving him an IV. And when they gave him the IV, blood got on me. And I do not handle blood. So here he goes again. and oh my gosh. The poor kid's almost going into shock. I'm holding his hand and I'm like, and then they gave him the pain meds and everything was okay.
Wow.
And they don't cast the femur anymore.
What do they do?
They put a rod in it.
I was going to say
they don't cast it. You used to see people back in the old days, they'd be in a full, sometimes a full body cast if they broke their femur. Well, now they just put a rod in it, and he was casted from the knee, like just above the knee down, but the femur was completely out, and it had a rod in it, and he's doing great now. That was the worst injury I've ever seen in real life.
There's a lot of injuries I think there's a lot of bone injuries that they're surgically repairing more than casting.
Right.
I mean, any complicated injury.
Yeah. I'd prefer not to have surgery. So if it can heal, when I did my wrist, I was on a 1/2-inch corded drill with an 1-inch hole saw. And I was drilling up like this, drilling a hole for a sink, a hand washing sink in the kitchen. And this was when we were doing the tap house. And it bound up and I couldn't get off of it. And it didn't have a clutch. Right. So it just spun my hand completely around on it and broke both these bones right here. Oh. Yeah, it was gnarly. And I didn't even go to the hospital for about half an hour. Oh. I just sat there, put some ice on it, and then It wasn't a good experience.
I was like, okay,
I had to spike my thumb, which is a royal pain in the butt. I don't know if you've ever had a cast, but spiking the thumb means they run the cast up your thumb so you can't move your thumb because they don't want you moving your thumb when you have both these. And it's debilitating. It's a pain. It was my right hand too. So,
wow.
And we opened 3 days later.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So the first, 3 months, 2.5 months, I was in a cast.
You showed me some pictures of the tap house the other day. That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Cool place.
We put a lot of work into that.
Well, and you know what interested to me is when you said tap house, I was thinking like a beer tap house.
Yeah.
But it was also a bunch of wine.
20 wines on tap, 40 beers, 5 kombucha, and craft soda.
See, and I didn't even know wines could be on tap.
Yeah,
you were explaining that.
It started in Las Vegas. They have these machines, and what we did was you take the bottle and you put a cork inside that's expandable, and it's got an in and an out. Well, the in is argon because argon is heavier than oxygen. Argon sits on top of the wine and makes it so the wine doesn't oxidize. Well, it's also the mechanism that pushes the wine. The gas is what pushes the wine out. So you have a tap just like a beer, and you pour wine off the tap, and it keeps your wine good for like 10 times as long as having an open bottle.
Well, and I was thinking about I would love it, and you probably didn't do this for customers, but it'd be so cool to just be able to, in one sitting, to be able to do a little taste of.
We did it every Wednesday night.
Really? Just like you do
wine Wednesdays, 5 o'clock.
So
we bring a different winery in, and anybody could taste any wine we had on tap.
Yeah, and see, I just think that would be.
You don't get a lot though, because wine is not like beer. Wine's quite a bit more expensive.
Right,
ounce,
but still,
it's just a little whistle.
But yeah, I was telling someone the other day that it's like when I stand in front of a wine rack at a grocery store, it makes me dizzy. It's
I'm sure
there's just so many. I mean, it's like, okay, which one has the prettiest label?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys are ever over on the west side, go to Art and Science and get their Syrah. I don't drink anymore, but Art and Science is a winery. It's out by it's pretty close to Airlie, which Airlie's on 99 in between McMinnville and Corvallis, like just outside of Monmouth. But there's Art and Science Winery too. And if you're a big red wine fan, like big reds, Art and Science's Syrah is the best. The best. By far.
The only time I think I've been to a wine tasting room once, and I was with people who really knew what they were doing, and so I was like intimidated, and so I finally the gal says, "What do you want?" And I said, "Something girly. I want something sweet." "Oh, I know exactly what you want." It was funny because she had apparently I was not the only one who had ever was in that position of like, I have no idea what I want. So
you drink like a Riesling?
Yeah, a Riesling or a
Moscato.
Moscato, yeah. That's what a dessert wine. Is that what they call those?
Yeah. Well, yeah. They have actual dessert wine. You guys want to know something else that's really good? If you ever have a chance to try it,
Here, switch to your camera.
Domaine DuPont. Domaine DuPont is the one that I know that makes it. It's from France, and it's ice cider. And what they do is they take cider, and in other countries, cider is not like what cider is here. We drink fruit wine here. Like that stuff you guys drink, pineapple cider, all this stuff that's on tap, that's fruit wine because they freeze some of the juice and add it back in to lower the alcohol content and to up the sweetness. Well, over there, they take the cider and they freeze the water off.
Oh, wow.
They turn the water into ice and it separates the cider and ice cider. Oh my goodness.
And then you eat the ice?
No, you don't eat the ice. You drink the cider.
Okay.
But it's had the percentage of the water removed.
Right. So it's real concentrated.
Yeah, it's so much better. The apple. I mean, it's just, if you have a chance to try some ice cider, give it a try. Thanks, John. John Tolan, thank you. Appreciate it. He was my baseball coach when I was 13, 14. We traveled all the time together.
Yeah, see, he's old as dirt too.
No, he's actually held his age. I mean, he
is, but he's just a little.
He's retired.
I know. Yeah,
he's retired. I interviewed your replacement at out at Island City. He played in the Shrine game, John, and so I have an interview with him. I played a little bit on my sports show, and then we're going to put some of it on the show in a couple weeks. Man, that's a couple weeks away.
So the Shrine game.
Oh,
so we are streaming the Shrine game, and we've been working our tails off getting ready for that. We have a technical rehearsal this Sunday afternoon, which is putting all of the equipment together in one spot and having somebody run around the fields and stuff. But I've done a lot of football, a lot of sports, but nothing quite at this level. And so we're excited about it. And it's a great opportunity for us and for the Shriners because they love the idea of a streaming platform. They have a lot more control, and we can include the parade and include stuff that they can't include when they're limited on time, like from a broadcast facility. So anyhow, we're preparing for that, and that is August the 7th.
August the 7th.
So two weeks. Yeah, a week from this Saturday.
Yeah, already.
Wow.
This summer, I'm telling you, July is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this week left in July.
Yeah.
It's wow.
So
time's just flying.
Well, do we have anything else you have your favorite queued up and stuff?
I do. I got my normal.
You got your
stuff,
normal
even
rundown?
though we're in a different situation.
Yeah.
On this day, my birthday, in 1586, Walter Raleigh brought the first tobacco from England to Virginia.
In 19 what?
1586.
Okay.
1586.
Tobacco.
Yeah.
Wow.
First tobacco ever brought to America because it didn't grow here indigenously. And on this day in 1921, Frederick Banting and Charles Best isolated insulin at the University of Toronto. So it was a breakthrough when it comes to diabetics and insulin. 1921. On this day in 1953, North Korea and the United Nations signed to stop fighting, and they divided Korea at the 38th parallel. And that's why we have North Korea and South Korea now. In 1999, Tony Hawk is the first skateboarder ever, 1999 on this day, to land a 900. That's a lot of twists. That's 2.5 twists. Yeah, it's like it was big time. And, hey, I was watching the Olympics, and Tony Hawk isn't competing in skateboarding in the Olympics. He's commentating. Yeah. But he's the kind of guy, he's 53 years old. He's the kind of guy who had his skateboard with him, obviously. And he went out there and he landed a 900 at 53. Wow. 53 years old, landing a 900 on a skateboard.
That's crazy.
It's pretty impressive. On this day, in 1991, the #1 song in America was Bryan Adams. Everything I do, I do it for you. Hey, we used to dance to this song at 8th grade dances.
Hey, that's a good song. That is in the Chicago era, man. That I listened to Bryan Adams.
Sure you do. Man.
Yeah,
I am absolutely sure.
Yeah, that's on one of my playlists. Don't be dissing that.
This was the song that I at an 7th grade dance. First, I think it was the first time I ever danced with a girl, 7th grade, like really danced at a dance. Yeah, this song right here. This was, as soon as this song came on, all the boys had to scurry around and find a girl to dance with.
Of course, man. Of course, yeah. Oh,
I'm trying to do my job, BC.
Yeah.
My quote for the day. I posted this in my sports group the other day, and it's not really inspirational, but I love it, and it's everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, and it's Mike Tyson. And he says the same thing about the internet too. Everybody's a tough guy on the internet because they can't get punched in the face.
I saw a quote the other day. I think it's like, people are a lot more rude on social media because
that's Mike Tyson. Yeah,
because they can't get punched in the face.
Yeah. And then I forgot my daily joke. You had me all freaking messed up over here. Why do bees have sticky hair?
I don't know.
Because they use a honeycomb. And then I was going to tell you, I was looking through little things. Shouldn't the roof of your mouth be called the ceiling? Like if you think about it, it's not really a roof.
Really a roof. The
it's
roof
a ceiling.
is on the outside.
The roof is would be your head up here. This is the ceiling.
We're going to be thinking about that all day.
Yeah, I know. There's all kinds of stuff like that. There's hundreds of ones where you're like, why do we call it that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like the opposite of what it really is. Yeah. Yeah. We appreciate you guys for tuning in.
But hey, these guys right here.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's today. There's a parade today, 6 o'clock downtown. I think it's running from Max Square to Light Truck, and it's to honor the state champion juniors. So that's 13 and 14-year-old boys who won the state championship Little League. And the cool thing is our girls in the same age group won the state championship too. So the 13 and 14-year-old boys and girls, softball and baseball, are Little League state champs this year.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so it'll be another one of those signs down there at the baseball field. I took my son down to the baseball field yesterday to show him, and he got stung by a bee. So we didn't stay very long. But one of the cool things, and let me give a shout out real fast to Coach Kemp up at EOU and to I'm having a brain fart, BC. The athletic trainer Chris Stu. And to the football players and Jet Taylor, Solo Taylor, Cade Reed, Nate Reed, Walter Camp, Victor Rosas, everybody that was up there, you guys made that experience awesome for my kids, and I appreciate it. Kemp, thank you for the shirts. You're my dude. You know that, and yeah, it was awesome. It was cool. We went up there to take some pictures and to talk to Kemp. He just got back from Vegas, and I took my kids up there, and it wasn't planned or anything. It was kind of on the spur. I was working, and I went and picked up my son and my daughter, and my oldest stayed. And we went up there, and they just treated us like royalty. Kemp opened up the gym. Chris Stu opened up the football locker room, and a few of the football players were there working out, and they came down and talked to Kyron, and it was cool. It was excellent. Yep.
All righty. Well, we'll see you on Tuesday, guys. And
appreciate you, Eastern Oregon.
Yep. And thanks for joining us this morning. Talk soon.